In a previous video segment, I got on camera and I said that really I had disproven the theory of evolution scientifically and through creative means, but I offered no explanation. What I meant to say is, once again, if biblical history is correct and the characters in the Bible have a chronological time frame of 6,000 years ago of written human history, and Moses filled in on the rest of the chronology and genealogy of Adam, who living about 6,000 years ago. We have no fossil remains going back 6,000 years anyway. We haven't found humans who wouldn't have changed much 1,000 years sooner than us now. Do we look like we have changed over the past 1,000 years of human history? So really, back 7,000 years ago, we have no fossil remains. We have no fossil human remains going back 8,000 years ago. No fossil human remains 9,000 years ago. In fact, there's a fall-off between our skeletal record and ancient simian unknown mammals, as ancient simian monkeys, and those fossils are like 1,000,000 years old, and dinosaur fossils millions of years old. And so you would think that somewhere along the line we would have found our human remain. What language would they have spoken? Would they have spoken in English? Probably not. They would have to have had an advanced language. Adam spoke the Adamic tongue, which was not English or Hebrew. It was its own language. Nor would we understand it if we were heard it. There's no linguist alive on the earth today who knows what the Adamic tongue sounds like, for it was given to Adam by his maker. And what language that they spoke after his descendants came onto the scene, we're not certain. So having no bog body, nothing frozen in ice, nothing in a cave, nothing found underwater, of human remains that old, doesn't that tell us that we're not evolved on the time scale of evolution? Evolution is a misnomer. After all, if life can't create itself, life is not going to make itself too much better. For the most part. Life can't create itself from base elements, although amino acids can form if we pass an electrical current through a mixture of base elements, or maybe an organic chemistry lesson. But then scientists, they've never created DNA in a laboratory from those scratch amino acids. It's like DNA or a bacteria or virus. There's nothing on anyone's record or journal. Of course, we've messed around with membranes and other things in a biology lab. But for what point? The scientific conditions that existed. It's like, well, the sun was 5 billion years old. So the scientific conditions that existed then are pretty much the same as they have been now. Amino acids don't just combine and create something intelligent, something that can think and talk and move, something that can unreason evil and hope for good and holiness. It's like that we have a soul that wasn't created here on earth. It's like by nothing that we've seen. We know all animals have an intelligence beyond their own person, a soul, if you will, and so do people. Else, why has religion been such a topic for all civilizations through all this time, or non-religion? And so that really solves our problem. A higher power had to create us. Once again, there is really no likelihood that this could have happened on its own. Not with the constellations of the Zodiac. There's 12 of them. They're like in Greek mythological connect-the-dot design. Have you ever tried to connect the dots with them? It's like they really are saying what they do, and the effect that they have, like on our mood or whatnot. Or maybe that's not even a topic of discussion. It's like where all the planets were located might affect how I look as compared to the next class, or Chinese astrology repeats every 12 years, and so my graduating class looks different than this graduating class because of the weather. Very, very odd. But Benjamin Franklin said that God governs in the affairs of man, meaning we're sensitive to his intelligent design in one way or another. And so I guess that's mostly what I want to say. And I don't understand why only evolution is taught in the classroom when there's no evidence for it, and when it makes more sense to say that a higher power had created us, because no science has ever created us created life in a laboratory. The fossil record is not there to substantiate it. Really, I think that life that had come before us is quite evil, because if you believe in Jewish law, it's not holy. And now they want to clone the dinosaurs and bring them back using chicken eggs and recently obtained dinosaur DNA, which I believe is an abomination and should be stopped by all governments and all laws. Because it's like the killer bees that get it in a way. The killer bees that got away because we were messing with nature. The same thing could happen to these creatures from chickens, and they could just interbreed and become something that we didn't want. So I believe that all funding for that, and the law must mandate that it must be stopped at all costs to the authorities and to scientists. And I mentioned about how music, like the Jonas Brothers and Andrew Lloyd Webber and Sarah Brightman, reflect natural disasters like Haiti and the oil spill going back 2 years ago, the earthquake there, and the earthquake in Argentina. I don't know what else, but maybe Elton John and the earthquake, or the tsunami in Japan like 1 or 2 years ago. But did I mention that things like Cats, the musical, those songs are falling into cinema photography of cats that we're seeing in Hollywood, like Gus the Theater Cat for Shrek's Puss in Boots Christmas special, and Alice in Wonderland's The Cheshire Cat, for McCavity the Mystery Cat, Aslan the Lion for the Mystical Mistopheles, Shania Twain's I Don't Want You for a Weekend, I Don't Want You for a Night, for the song Medusa, for Clash of the Titans, when Medusa shows up, and Cher, Do You Believe in Life After Love, for Indiana Jones, The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I'm sorry she didn't get on the soundtrack for that one, and her husband, Sonny Bono, whose spirit is very close by to her. And anyway, I guess that's all I wanted to say. I needed to preface that note about evolution. Like, even a pharmacy major knows that we haven't gone beyond the basic amino acids in a laboratory. And even if we did, I don't think it's going to start to have working DNA and stuff like anytime, anywhere. After all, 5 billion years is just a drop in the bucket of of time. Time goes by really fast, and by the time all the stars have faded and dwindled, and the universe looks a lot darker, it's like I think we ran out of time there, and I think that the science that applies to us is no different as human beings. It's like we don't just come up with our own motive from base elements and suddenly appear. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to determine that. So thank you for listening, and best wishes as always.